Now, all right. So this is episode number 70. Actually, I've been 70 episodes, and I'm excited today because I have a special friend with me. I brought along in this ride so we can chop it up for a little bit. He's a speaker, MC, voice talent, fitness expert, entrepreneur, the founder of Body Future and Fitness. He's a four-time bodybuilder, aka America's vegan trainer, Will Tucker.
latinoyvegano.com.
Oh, brother. What's going on, my man?
Oh man, it's going good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Trying to spread some of this love and this vegan thing, because
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I started this project about a year ago because I felt like there was a small gap in between a couple of communities, right? So I represent so many communities, right? Me being originated from Panama, but also being what they call Afro Latino. I don't like to call it that way. I'm black regardless of where I'm from. When I'm back home, they don't call me like, "What are you?"
Right.
You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's a different conversation.
That is. I know that's right, brother.
Yeah, that's for a different topic. But yeah, so I'm just trying to kind of spread the love, talk about veganism, about social justice, all of those into one, from different perspectives, different angles, trying to reach out to more people in different ways than another. And seems to be working for me as far as being this a passion. So I want to bring along a couple of my friends on the long way that I developed some of this friendship, especially the ones that means a lot to me, like you. And we'll talk about that a little longer.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Likewise.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, and I wanted to be able to see if you can be part of this project. Mm-hmm. So before we go into like further detail, I always tell people like, I want you to share your story. I know you share your story probably 250,000 times, but hey, 250,000. And but you know what? It's funny because you never know your story who's going to inspire. It's always that one person like, oh man, I listened to that thing that one time that guy said that, sparked something on me. So you can give me the elevator version of the story, however you want to do it. But if you just give a little bit like, what turns you vegan, how you turn vegan, you know how that goes.
Man, I always like to say mine, it kind of broke down and happened in different phases. Like I can date it all the way back, actually, and I usually don't even tell this part when I'm touring, back to 1991, actually. It was 4th of July weekend, and I went with my brother and a few friends. We went to a Taste of Chicago. And my brother had some friends. His family was Muslim, and we were staying at their house that weekend, and I found a book, and it was, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from East St. Louis, so we shot to Chicago, like 5-hour drive. Right. And, it's a barbecue weekend, 4th of July. That's what America does, Right. So, like I said, I was staying at this friend's house, my brother's friends, and they were Muslim, Islam, influence. I don't really like to say religion, but there was this book called How Not to Eat Pork, I think, and Live or something like that. And it detailed about how Muslims typically stay away from pork. Right. So that was the kind of first seed planted way back in 1991. So when I got back, after that weekend, I kind of decided to stay away from it. I mean, it didn't go into any ethical or moral arguments about it. It was just more saying like, in fact, it was bad things actually about pigs, about pork and what it does inside your body. And also kind of had some, negative connotations about pigs in general. So at that point, I started to stray away from pork products.
Okay.
So I like to say I was the first seed. It had nothing moral. Like I say, it was just kind of like, ew, pig, kind of looking at it from that aspect.
Right.
Then we can fast forward all the way to 2006. I mean, it's a whole, different decade. I graduated college. I'm now working in mortgage banking. Yeah. As I say, I'm originally from the St. Louis area, but in the mid to late 2000s, when everything started going bad with the economy, a team was transferred out west here in Arizona, where I am now. Now, I went to Vegas for a year first. I was young, single, wild, and free. I went in a different role. So I did that for a year. Didn't really like living in Vegas. Fun place to visit, but not to live. Right. So I came over here and joined the other team, still working in the corporate world. And 2006, Thanksgiving Day, in fact, some of the other people from the St. Louis area that didn't go back home for the holiday decided to have a traditional Thanksgiving at one of the friends' houses. So I'm sitting there eating, you know, fellowship, turkey, all the trimmings, traditional Thanksgiving, if you will.
Right.
And took this big plate of leftovers back to my apartment. And I just got there, put my feet up, relaxing, turned on TV and started flipping through the channels. Somehow I wound up on a National Geographic channel. This was interesting. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how. Man, I'm typically a ESPN or a type of guy, and I wasn't drunk or anything, but it was a documentary or a program on about animals being born and the connection between the baby and the mother.
No way.
And it was all types of animals. I don't care if it was a sheep, a bear, a pig, a fish, a goat, whatever it was, but there was one thing that was coming, that bond between the baby and the mother.
Right.
And it drew me in, man. And I watched that entire program.
Wow.
And this Thanksgiving Day 2006. And after I was done, I was like, yo, I've been eating somebody's baby all my life. The switch flipped right there. And I threw, you know, that whole plate of leftovers. There was turkey and ham and everything. And I threw every piece of meat I had out of my house at Thanksgiving Day 2006, man. And at that point, I like to say I was vegetarian, as they consider it. Still did eggs, cheese, that ever addictive cheese. Yeah. And, you know, most foods, they sneak dairy in some form or fashion. Right. But as far as flesh, I was done. I mean, not even fish. I was like, that's it. I've been, you know, eating babies. So then that was Thanksgiving Day 2006. Then I got active in competing in what? I was 09. You know, I was always like a gym rat, if you will. Then in 09, I decided to, you know, step it up a bit and start competing in, you know, NPC and different organizations as far as bodybuilding. Right. And I was like, well, how am I going to do this? You know, I'm, you know, non-meat eater in this meat influence industry. And this was way back when Borders bookstore was open. I just happened to be going through, you know, fitness books or whatever. And I stumbled upon one book at Borders called Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness by, of course, our good friend, Robert Cheek.
The godfather of bodybuilding.
Godfather. That he swears I'm the first person to call him that when I first met him. I was like, you the godfather, man. And I read, I was like, yo, I'm not alone as far as not eating meat, you know, but they were vegan. I was vegetarian at the time. So I competed in 2009, vegetarian. Did okay. I got third place in the NPC show. 2010 came back, did an OCD show, got second place in that one. I was like, yo, okay, things are up on the upswing. Then 2011 came. Like I said, I had already been checking out, you know, vegan bodybuilding fitness. I was well aware of Robert and a few other people, Derek Treesize, Giacomo. And then I was like, you know what? October 1st, 2011, this is the pivotal moment. I said, I'm going to try to go the month of October, you know, drop the eggs, drop the cheese, and, you know, be more conscious about looking for dairy, you know, in any type of packaged food I would have. I was never a milk drinker, so that wasn't a problem. Right. And then 2 weeks in, man, I never felt better. My recovery from my workouts was minimal, if any. I was just like, yo, 2 weeks in, I was sold. I was like, this is it. And I haven't looked back since. And then since converting vegan, that's when, like I said, I got third and second. Prior to that, that's when I finally won, got my first pro card, and went on to win 3 more natural bodybuilding titles since then, 100% vegan. I haven't looked back since October 1st, 2011. That was my pivotal moment.
Man, those are great.
So that's kind of the phases. You said the short version. I'm kind of stretched it from the 90s all the way to 2000s, but that's how it happened for me, man. And it's a wonderful thing. And like you mentioned, I prior to, you know, the pandemic, I was always touring, always out there trying to get more people to, you know, go plant-based, vegan, however you want to term it, and just try to serve as an inspiration, especially in, you know, marginalized communities where there's people of color who just like feel that it's not attainable. Yeah. I come from a place just like you know, and that's why I was always trying to be front and center and Black and brown communities. Let them know, hey, it's very attainable, very doable. It will change your life, especially your health. A lot of the chronic diseases that plague Black and brown communities, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the strokes, the heart attacks, a lot of those can be alleviated simply by changing your diet, changing what's on the end of that fork. So that's why that was my mission prior to COVID. And as the world starts to open back up, I definitely want to get back out there and do more speaking and get back on tour, man.
Yeah,
excited to do it.
Yeah, we need to bring you to Texas. It's so many things to Houston, because you've been to Texas before. To Houston.
Yeah. I've never been to Houston. I was spoken in Austin. You were in Austin last time I spoke there. Yeah.
So many things I want to talk to you about. My story has a lot of similarity to your story to some extent. I mean, this is pretty much how it usually is with a lot of vegans, right? When you start meeting them, like their stories, they have so much similarity, right? That's why it's a big bond. Because in my story, I got influenced by a friend, but my friend was heavily influenced by Rastafarians. And see, if people know about Rastafarian, most Rastafarians or true Rastafarians, they live in Aita culture or Aita living, which is basically natural. Aitas come from natural. Natural living is eating. And part of the natural living is also eating plant-based or vegan, how you want to call it. And he had a lot of that influence. And so my first experience with veganism was through Rastafarians. So they basically, no animal product whatsoever, right? There's some Rasta that eat like fish, so they're more like pescatarian, but that's a different story. So I was influenced by a lot of them. So the first time I actually had like vegan food was from Rasta. So my first initiation on the movement or on the lifestyle was coming from those guys. And there was exposing to me to, not only the food, but also the thinking, right? About Black empowerment and liberation and repatriation and all these different things. I was like, okay, this is a lot. I mean, I'm in my early 20s when I went vegan, and it was a journey. It was a process. But I did went cold turkey. I was like, all right. So what actually did it for me was a video. I watched a video. It was a PETA video, and it was showing me all the slaughtering of the animal. And this was what pre-internet. Internet was first coming out. So, and it was dialogue. For whoever don't know, I'm putting on my age out there. It was dialogue. So, that video was like, kick. I was watching that video, but it was showing how they treat the animal, and I made the connection right away. I was like, whoa, so this is what I've been eating?
Yeah,
man. I mean, that's it. I'm like, I'm going vegan. I didn't even know how to do it, but I'm like, I'm going vegan. One thing about me is I'm very, very committed, right? So once I got into it, I was like, I'm just gonna figure this thing out, whatever it takes. I'm just gonna figure it out.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's kind of like the similarity of the journey. I mean, then it started competing and whatnot, all that stuff. But but let's talk about your competition journey. So you were a 4-time bodybuilding champion. You had a great physique. So what does it take? How long does it take you to get that physique? Like, what was your process to get to where you were to become a bodybuilding champion?
Wow. Honestly, man, I like to say it was a lifelong journey. Now you talk about showing your age, talking about early internet. I'm going to really expose my age. Back in the in the mid 70s, now I told it all. Early mid 70s, back when I honestly like to say I started in kindergarten.
Really?
This was back when Jack LaLanne used to have his TV show. Now I don't know if a lot of your audience or you're familiar with Jack LaLanne.
I do. I have a Jack LaLanne juicer.
I used to watch my little 13-inch black and white TV while I was waiting on the school bus to go to kindergarten. And what drew me into his program was he used to have these German Shepherds, and the dogs drew me in. But then he started, exercising, jumping jacks, push-ups. I used to mimic him while waiting on the school bus.
Really?
And that's how that was my original series, working out. And then, as I got older, started competing not competing, but participating in athletics. I was influenced, my mom, with, the 20-pound weight set. I'm a little skinny 40-pound rather, third grade or whatever, and I'm trying to do curls and, everything. So it started with the calisthenics from watching Jack LaLanne. As I got, 7, 8, 9, like I said, got the first weight set. the plastic coated ones with the concrete inside. And, start lifting there. Then got teenager, got a bigger weight set, weight bench.
Right.
And that's kind of how my journey started. And then after, when I got into college, it was when I really, really got into it.
Okay.
And, just started going hardcore in the gym, connecting with other guys on campus. And actually, those were my first shows. I don't count them because there was no real organization, but it was just a campus-wide bodybuilding show. I participated in that twice with other guys that, were gym rats, if you will. Yeah. It was put on by the school, SIU, Southern Illinois University. That's where I attended. And it was the Mr. and Mrs. SIU competition. Nice. I did that 2 years. 1 year I got 5th place, and another year I got 3rd place. But that's kind of where it started from, was doing those push-ups with Jack LaLanne back in 1974.
Right. And that's interesting. And that you mentioned your journey starting from way back, because a lot of people, when they look at like competing in bodybuilding, especially bodybuilding, when you say bodybuilding, they automatically think, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, all these big guys. And no disrespect to any of those guys, but we all know what the deal with that is.
Yeah.
And then what most people probably don't know about this situation, that's right away the perception of big bodybuilding is like this big muscle guy that they see on TV or on magazine. And from a natural perspective of bodybuilding, it's a different ballgame. The way the body developed, it's not that way. No, not at that level, right? Not with an enhancement. Let's put it that way, right?
Right.
So that's what I sometimes I like to tell people, like when you're a natural bodybuilder, and then not taking away, we're not having reached to the dieting aspect of it. It requires a different type of not workout, because you still do the same workout, but our body's not going to develop that way because we're not doing X, Y, and Z. So do you want to elaborate more on that? Maybe you can explain it better than I.
Well, no, I mean, I think you said it good, but of course, those guys take, let's just say, enhancements to get that big.
Right.
The body does have certain capabilities, and some things will assist it to go further. And I did one NPC show, and I've always been a natural. I've never sought the path for enhancements. I never even wanted to go that route. Right. I just wanted to see how far my genetics and my work ethic and discipline could take me. I don't have a desire to do that, especially now at the age of 51. Right. I haven't competed in 5 years. Right. And I mean, that's good for them. Like you said, workouts, they still have to train as hard. They still have to be as disciplined and as focused to compete. But with those enhancements, synthetic drugs, I guess you'd call it what it is. Yeah. It to get to that level, you have to do it. And I'm not trying to be there. I just wanted to be a natural bodybuilder. I had achieved a decent amount of success as that. And my big thing, as I mentioned earlier, is just sharing the message, the plant-based vegan lifestyle, and getting around that. Fitness was kind of a vehicle which pushed me to some greater heights and getting more speaking gigs and getting more attention, because they're like, wow. And I'm not a big dude. I'm like 5'7", $150 on a good day. And it's just where I was able to naturally take my physique, and especially being vegan. And it was quite impressive, to a lot of people. And that's how and I'm very charismatic when I get on stage. And I think that's why I got booked so much, as far as going around spreading the message. Because like, okay, this guy, he's relatable, and he's not that big, freaky looking, like you mentioned, the big bodybuilders, the Phil Heaths, and you mentioned, but he has a good physique, and he can share his story, and it can inspire people. I mean, that was my big thing, to really try to get people healthy. In fact, towards the end of my career in bodybuilding, which, like I said, I haven't been on stage since 2015. So yeah, I guess it's 6 years now. I kind of lost track of last year. That didn't really count. I strayed away from that title, vegan bodybuilder. Even that I started to stray away from. And I wanted to be more of a vegan lifestyle, wellness, fitness type of guy. And that's kind of where I prefer. I don't, because everybody doesn't want to compete. However, everybody wants to feel better, whether they can recognize the environmental impact, the moral aspect. Everybody wants to feel better. So I kind of latched onto that part of it and wrote with that. Although, I still currently train myself, 4 or 5 days a week. I still want to, try to actively age, you know, through my 50s and try to stay as healthy and fit as I can, you know, till the end.
Absolutely. And you forgot to say, like, you had the stack line. You always say, like, yeah, like, I'm not the biggest guy, but if you put with some oil and then a big lighting.
I know what you're talking about. I say that every time on tour, and people fall out laughing. That's usually in the beginning when I go into my spiel. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, hey, I always say, you give me some coconut oil, some good lighting, hey, I can get down with the best of them. But like I say, I'm 5'7", $150, so a lot of it is the posing, and it becomes this illusion almost on stage.
Hey, you know, going back to the initial comment that you said you saw Robert's book, you know, Robert inspired a lot of us, like including myself. Like I always tell Robert the same thing. Like every time I see him, like, you know, when I started lifting weight and I started getting interested in bodybuilding, I went to a gym and I went with a magazine. So I show one of those personal trainer that comes with the gym first time that you sign up. And the guy was like, yeah, man, you know, whatever, what's your goal? I'm like, yeah. So I pulled the magazine. I'm like, I want to look like this guy. He was like, oh yeah, he was whatever guy. It was like a physique guy, like one of those physique guys, right? Like, he was like, yeah, I can get you there, no problem. So I was like, hey, but I had to tell you one thing though. I'm vegan. And the guy almost flipped. He like, oh no, there's no way you're gonna be able to do that. All right. This guy flipped out. He was like, man, I feel like I was like had a disease or something. You know what I mean? like, no, there's no way. I was like, you know what? Thank you. And I left. I was like, this is the worst trainer ever. Instead of saying me, well, I don't know how to do it. Let me find out. Let me do some research about it. He says, there's no way. There's no possible. And it's like, this has to be a way. And I went to a bookstore and I was like, let me look for something. There has to be something in the, well, because there had to be something. Well, I went to the internet. I don't remember which one I did. I think I went to the internet first. And then I saw that Robert had a book and I went to a bookstore and I found the book. And I was like, oh, and it was a book that I read. I was like, there's people like me. I'm not the only crazy one doing this.
Exactly. And I got one more little piece to add in when I was telling my story, how it went from, you know, going from a meat eater from the Midwest. And back when I first became a trainer, right before that Thanksgiving Day, 2006, it was, that's when I first got certified. I saw that the day job was getting ready to go away. So I started working evenings and weekends at one of the big corporate gyms. Right. You probably know the name. I won't mention them, no. And it was weird. I actually had this client for a very short window. And I like to credit her for planting the seed too. She was pregnant, so she was expecting. I only worked with her a month, but she was vegetarian. And I'm coming from that Midwest mindset too. Like you mentioned that trainer. And I'm like, how are you going to hit your goals? But instead of dismissing her, I remember I'm a meat eater. I'm a meat lifting, protein, whey protein, shake chugging gym rat. I didn't dismiss her though. I was just like, that's interesting. I went and did research to find a way to best train her. And then it was weird. Like after a month, her doctor suggested that she go on bed rest and not work out anymore. But she was vegetarian, and this was like September, and then, you know, Thanksgiving comes around in November, of course. So I like to credit her a little bit too for kind of planting a seed from that fitness side. That because I couldn't see it before, you know, before my meat eating, fish eating, gotta eat beef, steak, chicken, whatever. I could never see it until I met this young lady, and I always give her credit too. So like I said, it kind of happened in phases from that first book about pork to this young lady being vegetarian. And it was like she just came into my life at the perfect time for like a month, and then she disappeared. Then the following month, becoming vegetarian after seeing the documentary, and then going out, you know, seeing Robert's book along the way. And then, you know, October 1st, 2011, which is coming up, and I'll be 10 years vegan.
Nice. You know, so let me tell you another piece. Let's see how things manifest in the same way it happens to you. So for me, it was before I even had, well, I met my friends since kindergarten because we've been in the same school for that long. But before my friends started like dabbling around veganism, my uncle, my dad's brother, one of his older brother, he was a vegetarian, and he used to come to our house with the shirts that says like no cow and whatnot. You know the red sign like no cow, and he like stop eating meat. Like, he used to come to our house, and we big meat eater. We're like get out of here, man. What are you doing here? I mean, leave us alone, man. We used to mock him all the time. See how things see how it happened. So he flip around. I was like, man, get out of here, man. Like what's wrong with you? Come on, get out of here, man. We used to tell my uncle to leave us alone. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe 5 years later it happened. Boom, I mean, my friend, like, I'm vegan. I'm like, what does that happen? And so then my life changed from that point on. I'm like, my uncle, like, I've been telling you that for a minute. You don't listen to me, right?
That's how it happens, man.
That's how it happens.
That's crazy.
So, Will, tell us a little bit about, like, what's your diet looking like? Before you tell me that, you know, I also don't like to use the term vegan bodybuilder, because I sometimes feel that when they use the term vegan bodybuilder, it kind of segregates us, like we're different to the others. And I know we want to send a message, but when we go and compete on stage, we don't compete only with vegans. We compete with everyone. And I know now they have several like vegan competitions just focused on vegan, which is okay. But I feel like I don't want to make it sound like we just want to compete against our people, basically, or other vegans, and we not can't match other people. Because I think sometimes that message can come across that, or like, oh, you guys don't have enough muscle to compete with the big guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not true, because we always been before. This all vegan confederations or whatever. This is all new now. This is nothing that it was before. Before we have to step and stay. We know we chicken meters and all that stuff. We non-vegans, so put it that way. we chicken eaters and all that. We meat eaters. So now this is an all new thing that's happening. This is like a whole new movement. It's okay. I think it's fine. But like I say, I think that sometimes it kind of gives that message like, well, you don't have enough to compete with others. So I don't know what's your take on that, but I don't like to also use that term like vegan bodybuilder only, you know, because I'm not just a vegan bodybuilder, I'm a bodybuilder, right? But seem to be a vegan.
Yeah, I mean, you know, most of us, you know, except for a very few, like Jahina Malik,
Tori, I think
Nemai. You know, most people did grow up consuming a lot of animal products. Yeah. So those three examples, and I'm sure it's a few more. Another young lady, Siba Johnson, I don't know if you know her. She was an Olympic skier. She's been vegan since birth too.
Nice.
You know, those few people have been vegan or vegetarian since birth. And like, if you look at Jahina, for example, she's been vegan since birth. And it will blow the women's bodybuilding away. I mean, this girl's physique is incredible.
Amazing.
So I know what you mean when they say vegan bodybuilding, as if you can put you in a specific subcategory, like you're going to compete with the non-meat eaters. But there was this pivotal moment in my career too, when I was competing back in 2013, if you're familiar with the Plant Built team.
Yeah,
I was, as far as I know, the first all vegan team, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of it. That's actually the first time I met Robert in Austin. That was 2013. And there were several other teams as well as just individuals, you know, competing in a pretty big bodybuilding show. And as far as the teams went, we went down there and killed it. Yep. And that kind of changed people's dynamic, because that was a big mainstream show. Yeah. I mean, they had everything from bodybuilding to CrossFit. We had athletes in different disciplines, and everybody killed it. And then as far as a team collectively against all the teams, we blew everybody away. And we were the ones who were viewed as the underdog because they don't, you know, consume meat. You need that to be athletic or even manly in a sense.
Right.
And that really put the natural bodybuilding world on its heels. Like, whoa, wait a minute. What is this about?
Yeah.
And I did pretty well there. I did win the Masters overall at that one. Tori won the Open for the bodybuilding for that one. So we killed it in men's bodybuilding, both of us vegans, and a lot of other guys, you know, did really well in their classes. A lot of the ladies killed it in bikini, figure, CrossFit athletes that we had. Everybody did so good. And that kind of got a lot of attention. And actually, the last time I competed in 2015, I was also part of a team down in Miami called Vegan Beef. I mean, imagine the irony or oxymoron there. And that was the last show I did. And that one, I won everything I could be up for. Won the Open overall, the Masters overall, and of course, you had to be a class winner to get there. Yeah. So I went 4-0 in that one, and I guess I walked away on top. Nice. I was like, okay, that's it. But and that one was crazy because in my prep, that was 2015, as I said, I just got introduced for the first time to intermittent fasting.
Right.
Now you asked how I eat, so this kind of ties into that.
Exactly.
And dude, people thought I was crazy in prep. I broke it all the way down to where I was eating one meal a day. I was in a 1 hour window. The first thing I would eat or consume would be either a smoothie or just a bunch of fruit. I'd wait 20 minutes for it to assimilate and break down, and I'd have my main meal, which usually consists of something fairly well-rounded. For example, black beans, broccoli, tofu. Did a lot of stir fries, a lot of bowls, wraps type thing for the main meal. But it always fruit first, 20 minutes or so, then I'd have that main meal. I did that through my entire prep, and when I got on stage, it was mind-blowing. I was shocked. I was like, I've never looked this good before. I did some research on it, and the problem is in America, especially, food is readily available 24 hours a day, and we're doing too much eating. And that constantly taxes your digestive system, and that's one of the biggest energy drainers in the body. And what it does when you abstain from eating, especially in men, you increase your natural growth hormone. So, I mean, the way my body responded to that, 23-hour fast every day and eating in that 1 hour window. And I didn't always keep it clean too. Then like maybe once a week, I would flip it to where I go to one of my favorite vegan places, have a cheat meal, as that main meal. I'd still eat the fruit first or a smoothie, whichever I was doing.
Right.
But once a week, I would still sneak a cheat meal in. And it was funny because all the way up until 2 days before the show, I'd, been rotating that way. And I was like, okay, it's Thursday. I'm supposed to be on stage Saturday. I went to one of the more popular vegan joints here, comfort food joints called Green, New American Vegetarian. They're known for these burgers and fries, all plant-based, of course. And I got what's known as they call their Big Whack, which is kind of a vegan take on the Big Mac and fries. And I posted I was eating that, 48 hours before getting on stage. And people are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're flipping out. And, I got to Miami that Friday, did drug tests, everything. And Saturday got on stage and wow, blew it away. I was impressed with myself, and I'm usually my hardest critic. But yeah, so tying it into what I do today, I still, for the most part, do intermittent fasting. I mean, I'm not as strict in that 1 hour window. Usually, I don't eat anything before noon. Usually, I might do tea, and I'm with coffee. I'm kind of on again, off again. Right now, I'm on. So I might have, a cup of coffee or something before noon, but usually everything is either noon or later. And coming up on this 51st birthday, I'm going to try to be a little more strict going into that because I might do a photo shoot for it. So I might taper it down to about a 4 hour window or so, 20 hours off, 4 hours on.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, and I'm still a big fruit eater, especially right now. All the summer fruits are good and in season, the cherries, the watermelons. Oh man, so much goodness out there right now. People, let me tell you, listen up. Eat your damn fruit. I don't care what anybody said. Oh, fruit has too much sugar. No, this is what your body needs to thrive.
I don't know who came out with that stuff, bro. I don't know who came up with that BS, bro.
Well, it's other industries. Do you profit from people eating fruit? No, because they'd probably get healthy. However, if big pharmaceutical have a hand in it, that's too much sugar. That's bad. They'd rather get you on some processed crap so they can have a patient, customer rather, for life. You become a patient first, then they're going to write your prescription for drugs. Then you become a customer because you figure you can't live your life because everything is out of balance because you're consuming too much processed stuff. This is what, whatever you believe, God, universe, goddess, whatever you think is out there, that's what they put on earth for us to eat and live. You got to think there was a time before there was this convenience, before there were stoves, refrigerators, microwaves. What was there? There was foraging. There were fruit forests. Right. This is what your body needs to thrive, people. I told you 2015 when I did that 1 hour window and consumed fruit every day, how my body responded, how I felt. And if I, in the streets, when I go totally raw and take the cooked food out, oh my God, my energy level is through the roof.
Yep.
It's amazing. So people, if you're listening, do not be scared to eat your fruit. Eat your damn fruit. I don't care what anybody says. Eat your damn fruit. You'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be better than ever.
Oh, fruits have too much sugar.
Yeah, I know. But let me go over here and get a donut.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Hey, fruits is great. I mean, I love fruits, and I eat fruits all day long. That's my snack, to be honest with you. Like, even if I have one meal or two meals, whatever the meals I have, fruit is like my go-to snack. Sometimes that's my only food. Sometimes,
it's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need. Right?
It's all you need. It fuels your body. It's pretty much pre-digested. It's got the amino acids, which are building blocks of protein, because that's another thing they think we're gonna wither up from this protein deficiency. Yeah, I'm still waiting to see the protein deficient wing of a hospital. Where do they take us? I mean, I haven't seen this yet. Nobody's proven it, but they keep talking about it. Yeah. It's like, what do you think is going to happen? You need those aminos. Fruits are chock full of those amino acids, and then it's got that natural sugar. Your body takes that and it converts to glucose. That's what you need to thrive. Those cells get so happy when you eat fruit. And I get so damn excited talking about it, obviously, because it makes you feel so alive. I mean, you got to eat your fruit, people. Seriously.
So since you're talking about feeling alive, tell me a little bit about what makes you feel accomplished. What makes you, Will Tucker, feel like, I'm the best version of me? What is that?
My best version, I feel my higher self, my best version is when I'm doing for others. Like here, I'm at my fitness studio. Okay. And when I meet somebody who comes in and they feel like this is the time they want to get in shape, and if they go on a journey with me and can put up with my antics as well as follow some simple directions, and when they start to come alive, seeing them gain confidence, regain their health, getting off prescription medications, just becoming this new version of them, that's what feeds my soul. It's giving back, like I mentioned, doing it whether verbally from the stage or working hands-on with people here in my fitness studio. That's what it's all about. If I can inspire and reach people and help them along their way, that's what feeds my soul. I'm not a big, everybody's got ego, but I'm not ego driven like that.
Right.
What makes me feel good is being able to serve others and help them.
Yeah, very good, very good. So, Will, tell us a little bit about your studio now that you mentioned it.
Okay. I mean, I guess I sent you an old bio. You called Body Fusion. I switched it back to Will Tucker Fitness now.
Oh, so WTF now.
Back to WTF.
I was, okay. Well, so
I did have that name for a while, though, and I guess I didn't realize I sent you an older bio.
Okay.
My bad. But yeah, back to Will Tucker Fitness. WTF for short. It's a small group training studio here in Mesa, Arizona. Actually, going into August, I'm going to kind of ramp it back up and get back to capacity. And I still kept it fairly small, only maybe 10 clients at a time. So excited about that. Last year was brutal here in Arizona because I was probably shut down most of the year, almost 7 months during 2 separate shutdowns here. And just trying to rebuild and get it back out there. And again, try to serve and help the people. But yeah, that's what Will Tucker Fitness is. It's one of the areas only, well, definitely the first 100% plant-based fitness studio. Of course, I will not suggest or guide anybody towards any type of animal products, anything that I think is going to be detrimental. Of course, on the flip side of that, everybody that I meet with that comes in here, I say, you're an adult. You can make your own choices. However, this is what I promote. This is what I practice. This is what I know that will help you reach your goals. So this was one of the first, and from what I understand, there's a couple other plant-based trainers now in the area, which is amazing. And it's funny because people always try to almost put us against each other. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not against somebody that practices what I preach. They're morally in line with me,
Right.
I'm against this guy over here on this corner who's telling people they need to eat more beef. You know, I don't get that. And I'm like, please, I wish every fitness studio around was, you know, plant-based only, promoted that, because it'd be a whole lot of healthy people walking around here. And a whole lot of animals just clapping in the background. Like, thank God, we got another one. So, yeah, that's what I do here, man. I guide people towards a plant-based lifestyle. You know, you have to nudgingly love them, you know, give them a nudge lovingly. Right. And a lot of times, man, you should see how it transcends. Like, I'll get either one of the parents that comes in and in the beginning, like, okay, this can be hard. I got to cook 2 separate meals. The rest of my family eats this way, I eat that way. But then when they start to feel it and see it and embrace it, it transcends through that family. Next thing you know, they're like, well, my whole family loves this. And, you know, my husband just started doing this and he lost, you know, 30 pounds or whatever. And it becomes a lifestyle. And that's, like I said, I think that's what I'm here for, man. If you dated all the way back to Jack LaLanne, you know, my little black and white TV doing the push-ups up till now, coming full circle and being vegan, plant-based, whichever term you want to use, and sharing that message with others and getting them to a better place. I think physically, definitely, but also spiritually. True. And that's what it's all about, man.
Hey, Will, do you have a story of a client that really, really touched you, especially a client that you helped either, you know, lose weight, gain weight, you know, gain strength, gain muscle, whatever the case is, and one that really, really like impacted you? You don't have to share like their name or stuff, but like at least the details.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everybody that trusts in me and believe in me. Yeah. I mean, every one of them touches me, man. It's crazy because it's tough love. It's funny. My clients truly have a love-hate relationship with me. They can't stand me most days, but when they start feeling a certain way and looking a certain way, they love me. Like right now I'm working with a couple that I think it's going to be probably one of the best stories, transformations once I reach the end. They both had a history of health issues on multiple prescription medications. I'm excited for them to start coming back in person in August. They've been virtual for the last few months, you know, through the pandemic, because the wife, actually, it's a couple, husband, wife. The wife had pneumonia, had COVID, a lot of different health issues. The husband has a plenty of health issues. And I'm really think getting them to convert 100% plant-based, along with the, you know, functional training here I do, is literally going to save definitely his life, because you know, I don't want to go into specifics, but he's got some real health issues, and if he doesn't make some immediate changes, man, it's gonna be too late. So I think I got a good grasp on this couple. Definitely with the wife. The husband is he just came back in a couple months ago, and he's already, you know, dropped like 35 pounds, and his doctors are starting to notice that, you know, things are progressing the right way. So I just really want to hit them with that tough love, but have that positive outcome in the end. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I think this will be my best story, but I've got hundreds over the, you know, 15 years I've been doing this, even, you know, like I say, predating my, you know, being vegan, still just helping people get healthy. So, yeah,
that's great. You know, I'll share the little story because a lot of people might not know this, but you know, Will mentioned that the last time I saw him was in Austin, and during that time in Austin, me and him have a couple of conversations, right? So, and one of the things that I think Will asked me, like, what do you want to do? And I told him, like, I want to be a personal trainer, something around those lines. So something around that conversation came across, and he said, well, I want to see you on stage and doing talks and doing all these things. Man, and he got me thinking so much. And I was like, you know what? I do want to do all that. And I don't know, I haven't give you an update, but I started training people.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it's all thanks to you. You got provided some of the inspiration, some of the
motivation.
It's
all you, man.
Yeah. I started training people. I got a couple clients, and then I feel the same way. I don't want to give my clients details. You know, there's some privacy there, but I have one of the clients that he he went to the doctor, and he was like, the doctor's like, you don't lose weight, you're gonna die, basically. It scared the guy. I mean, this guy was like super young, he's early 20s, extremely overweight, almost like 300 plus pounds, as ex-athlete. So you know, so it's big for him. So I was like, man, you know, I'm vegan, and I've been vegan for so long. I've been vegan for 20 years. So I'm about 20 years this year.
Ooh, 20
so yeah,
nice.
yeah. So I'm gonna train you, but you know, this is the way we roll. I'm a plant-based trainer, so I ain't gonna have you eating no pork chop, none of that stuff. So that's what
right. We're trying to help you, not hurt you.
So he like, all right, let's get it. So you know, we started training. He started losing weight just by changing his diet. You know how that goes, right? So I mean, this is amazing inspiration. So for me, the biggest gratification is seeing how this person like energy is up, is completely, is more happy. He's seeing the light on the other side of the tunnel, like his confidence level is going high, and you're like, yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? And then all that with the power of plants. So that's one of the things that really I like to embrace about this journey is how you help people to kind of achieve their goals more than anything else, more than the money gratification. Because a lot of people see that, oh, you guys, you know, making this, making that, but besides that, it's what we do for them more than anything else. That's what actually feed us, though. But yeah,
that's exactly what I was talking about, man. Yeah. It's a wonderful feeling, though, to just know that you can reach somebody and take them from, like you said, the doctor saying if he doesn't do this, he's probably going to die.
Yeah.
Him trusting you to be the person to guide them on that journey. And then you see the changes and you see how they just start to glow and come to life. And it's just like, and you just to know I had my hand in that process. It's just like, I'm fulfilled, man. It's an amazing thing. Wait till you get to work with a lot more, but man, you're on the right path, and I'm happy for you. Congrats.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, so I have a couple last questions for you, but the last one of the last questions I have for you is like, so why is it sometimes hard for like maybe like a older generation to get a grasp of what like plant-based and eating? What is that for? I don't want to necessarily put the a range in the age, but what's some of the older generations being hard for them to understand, you know, that the food that we're eating is killing us, so that we need to make that change. What is your perception on that?
You know, I think because of the fact they've been doing it a certain way for so long, that they're like, okay, this is as good as it gets. You know how a lot of times, a phrase I like to use with people, you don't know how feeling good feels until you feel good. Right. So, you know, a lot of people just think that's as good as it's going to get. You know, like I watch some of my own family members, like my grandma, for example, have the little pill box Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, was just living on prescription meds and just like, okay, this is just the way it's supposed to be. No. And the older you are, it seems like the more set in your ways you are. And like I mentioned, my grandmother, they probably seen their, you know, ancestors or different generations. Tradition can be a big part of it. In the Black community, it's hard to break people away from soul food. When if you look at the history of it, it was the scraps given to enslaved people.
Yep.
And the message behind it is strong because it's like we take this little bit of nothing and turn it into something.
Right.
It was necessary at that time. However, you need to focus on nourishing that body. Now, that is your vessel that's going to take you from here to the end. And don't get caught up in this is the way it's supposed to be. I saw my grandma taking pills every day. I'm just waiting on the time where I go to the doctor and they put me on something. And like I mentioned, big pharmaceutical earlier, they have another customer. It does not have to be that way. And as I mentioned, the longer you live a certain way, you think that's just as good as it's going to get.
True.
But change something. If you start to feel better, that's what I always say, if you feel it, you get caught up in it. And then, like you mentioned about your clients, like I mentioned about mine over the years, when you see them start to change and they get it, that is a beautiful thing. But yes, people are so caught up in tradition and the way they've been doing things for so long, they just can't really think outside of that. And they just think that's as good as it's going to get. And they're just like, some people get so just kind of carefree with it in a sense. They're just like, okay, well, something's gonna kill me. Well, guess it's just the way it's gonna be.
I have to die somewhere, somehow. Yeah.
I'm gonna die with a pork chop in my hand. It's just like, come on, man. It doesn't have to be that way. And they talk about, well, I'm gonna live my life. What about the quality of those years before you die? You want to be hooked up to machines and taking prescription meds every day, or do you want to just feel good, as vibrant and full of life as possible until, you know, it's your time to go? I mean, we're all going to go one way or the other. Yes, I get that message, but you don't know what feeling good feels like until you get there. It can be so much better. And that I really hope to be able to reach, you know, a lot of the people, especially as I mentioned, in the Black communities, Black and brown communities, with that message. Because actually I'm part of a Facebook group with my classmates from high school, you know, 30 plus years ago. And it seems that every month there's a new post in there, such and such passed away, had a heart attack, diabetes got him, had this. And it's like, it doesn't have to be this way. We're only in our 50s, people. Right. So you got to make some changes in those communities. And it starts with the mindset. And I think I'm a good catalyst because I grew up on the block with so many people. It's not like I'm some person that's out of touch and came from this privileged background. It's as real as it's going to get with me and you. I just tell you, because I grew up in the same circumstance. I grew up in the same environment, but I learned how to elevate my thinking, which is taking me somewhere else, and you can go too. It doesn't make me better than you. Let me share the knowledge that I've obtained and get you out of this situation. And that's what I'm hoping to do for some people.
Amen, brother.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great. So who do you think is going to win the finals?
Hey, man, I'm in Arizona. You know, I'm on the bandwagon right now. Hey, once the Suns beat the Lakers, I'm a Lakers fan, so, you know, I get a lot of hate mail around here. But once they beat the Lakers, I was like, if they beat the champs, they need to go all the way.
Okay.
So I'm bandwagon this year. I like Chris Paul, though. I think he deserves a ring, and I hope he's
plant-based.
From what I understand, I've seen him. He was involved in Game Changers, I think, as a producer. Robert met him. He's got some pictures from the red carpet premiere with him. So I would definitely like to see Chris Paul get a ring and bring some energy into this hot-ass city of Phoenix. And so, yes, we got to get him. I'd say Suns in 5. We drop for another night. We'll get them tomorrow, and then we're going to come home and win it all.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So, all right. So where can people find you, Will? So now plug your social media, your fitness studio, WTF. WTF stands for Will Fitness Talker. Make sure.
Right. It is Will Tucker Fitness, not what the please. Yeah, you can find me on actually Instagram at Will Tucker Fitness, Facebook Will Tucker or Will Tucker Fitness. Fitness by Will Tucker. Okay. There you go. But my most connected places are going to be the Instagram or Facebook at Will Tucker Fitness. You can always find me there. And yes, I do reply to people's messages. It might take a while sometimes. Sometimes I get a lot of them. Sometimes I got plenty of time and I just sit there and thumb through, but be nice. I'm kidding. You can be as rude as you want to be, but I will give you the most honest answer possible. So yeah, at Will Tucker Fitness, that's where you can connect with me, and hopefully you'll see me on the stage in your town soon as the world starts to open back up.
Excellent. All right, my brother. Thank you so much. So we hope to see you soon. And
yes,
it's been great. Appreciate all the knowledge, all the messages. This is awesome, man. You're an inspiration for a lot of us, including myself. Just keep doing your thing. We'll support you. You got my support, and anything I can help you with, I'm right here or over there, whatever. And
well, when Houston has a Veg Fest, you need to go elbow that organizer and say, "Hey, yo,
let's go.
I know who we need to get down here to get the people inspired."
You got it. I definitely going to do that. I'm going to put a word on you. I mean, so we see we can bring you out here so you can talk to the folks. We have some nice food out here too, though.
I've heard. You know, I'm waiting to get down there, man.
Yeah. Not necessarily healthy as vegan, but it's at least we got some. Yeah.
Every now and then, like I mentioned, you slide that cheat meal in.
Yeah. I think it's for folks that are transitioning, it's a good way to transition. Let's put it that way.
It serves the purpose. It does help those hardcore meat eaters to make the transition. So it serves the purpose.
All right, Will. So, yeah, man. So thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. And thank you so much, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I truly appreciate it. And hopefully be in Houston soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
Gracias por escuchar Latino y Vegano, un show donde se habla todo lo relacionado sobre el veganismo entre la comunidad latina. No olviden suscribirse a este podcast, seguirnos en Instagram, Facebook, YouTube y a visitarnos en latinoyvegano.com.